Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday. But not just any Shoot 'em Up Saturday, this is a special one. This one goes and marks my 1-year anniversary for the series. So, thank you so much for your support for the past year, and I hope to go and receive your support for at least another year to come, and hopefully beyond. I'm super thrilled that I've been able to go and make these episodes for a whole year, and I'm definitely looking forward to go and continue as long as I can. So that said, we're going to be doing something special today. I'm going to be fulfilling a request I actually received a really long time ago to go and play Ikaruga. So it's been one that I felt I should say for a really special occasion, and what better occasion than an anniversary. So on the menu today we've got Treasure's excellent shooter Ikaruga. Specifically, we're going to go and be playing the Gamecube version, but it's actually receiving a release on several other consoles. It originally came out on the Sega Naomi hardware back in 2001 in arcades, and then was ported the following year, 2002, to the Dreamcast. The Gamecube port would go and follow the year after in 2003, and since then it's also seen release on the Xbox 360 arcade as well as Steam. So if you're interested in going and playing this title, there's a lot of ways to go and obtain it, and I highly recommend it, as this one I feel is an essential play for anybody that's a fan of shoot 'em ups. So that being the case, what kind of taste will this fine Treasure shoot 'em up go and have? Let's get cooking and find out. Here we are, Ikaruga. So we're going to go ahead and have a quick look at what we've got. So there are a few options here. Keep in mind this is the GameCube version, not the Xbox 360 or the Steam version. I'm not 100% familiar with those titles, so I'm not 100% sure how they go and change things up mode-wise. But we have a web ranking game and challenge. I really wonder if that's still active or not. There's Conquest, train and refine your battle techniques, of course a practice mode, and then the main game itself. We're going to go ahead and jump in. We've got 3 difficulties we can go and select from. The biggest difference there is the revenge bullets that go and get fired from the enemies based off of the polarities that you happen to go and be. Easy, you don't get any revenge bullets. Normal, like the same polarity as you. And then hard, like all the enemies will fire revenge bullets. Then we've got the trial game, normal game. Trial game just basically lets you play the first 2 stages, but with unlimited lives. And here we are, going and launching from this awesome looking satellite thing. So an interesting thing about Ikaruga is there's actually a rather in-depth story to the game itself, but unlike Radiant Silvergun, it doesn't go and actually come into play at all throughout the course of the game itself. If you're interested in the story, you kind of have to go and read about it in supplemental material that's available for the title. But at least, at the very least, we'll go and cover the names of the ships that we're going and using. So, the Player 1 ship is the titular ship Ikaruga, and then the Player 2 ship is the Ginkei. All the names in the game are based off of Japanese bird species names. So, there's a little bit of trivia for you. If you're interested, you can go and look up what an actual Ikaruga looks like. So, controls. They're more on the simple side for this title overall. We have 3 primary buttons that you'll be using. There's, of course, the button for your main shot. There's also a button to go and unleash stored energy you have. And then, most importantly, there's the ability to go and switch the polarity of your ship. There's 2 polarities that go and exist in the game. There's the white polarity and the black polarity. And depending on which polarity you are, goes and depends on what kind of shots you can absorb. And the shots you absorb will ultimately go and power up your beam missiles that you can go and fire with as the energy release, like so. Although that really wasn't a very good example. As you go and absorb shots from your native polarity, I guess, you'll be able to go and charge up your meter to go and deal really massive damage with your homing beams.
This actually isn't the first time that Treasure and I had experienced or experimented around with polarities, though. It was actually something that was present in one of their earlier titles on the PlayStation, Silhouette Mirage, an interesting action title. Anyway, here we are at the first boss, whose name at the moment I cannot remember, so we won't worry too much about that. But he does go and have a few phases that he goes and transitions through that goes and kind of shows off the awesome benefits of being able to go and charge up your weapons as well. Another really fascinating feature of the polarity system is that if the enemy you're going and fighting is white, I didn't change polarity fast enough, then red shots, or rather black shots, will go and deal double damage to that enemy. Where if you're just going and using the same color polarity as them, then you'll only go and deal the same, or like, well, base damage, standard damage. And in two-player titles, another rather complicating aspect of the game is that you can actually go and push each other around. Now, like Radiant Silvergun, it's actually possible to go and do some really high-level score attacking for this title. You go and build up chains based off of defeating 3 enemies in a row of the same color. So if you're really good about going and controlling your shots, you can go and build up these massive chains and go and get really high point values based off of going and doing that. But it can go and be mind-bending to go and make sure you're only shooting certain enemies in certain rows. But unlike Radiant Silvergun, a chain doesn't necessarily have to go and be a continuous same color chain. You just need to go and chain 3 enemies of the same type in one go. So you can go and do 3 whites, 3 blacks, 3 whites. Just as long as you keep it in sets of 3, you can go and continue your chain. Which is nothing I've ever really been good at. Maybe one day I will go and find that game that I will go and practice to the point where I can go and utterly Ponzor the chaining. So this section here is definitely one you want to be careful at when you're going and playing it multiplayer. Just because there is the ability to go and push your co-op partner around. It's interesting because your actual hitbox is very, very small when it comes to enemy shots, but as far as your hitbox when it is concerned with the other player, is like disproportionately large. It doesn't seem like you should be able to go and push each other around as much as you can, but you definitely do. So one thing that's great about these enemies that go and fire these really big beams of energy is if you can go and get to the right polarity and absorb that, you can go and build up your energy meter really, really fast. Go and allowing for like devastating beam releases. Just another little minor graphical note. You can go and see the life bar of the enemies you're going and shooting at the top, regardless of if they're just small cannon fodder or whether they're bosses. So if you're interested in going and keeping track of that kind of thing, you definitely can. This is just a neat little feature. Now, this is definitely a section that if you're really, really precise, you can go and be getting awesome chains, but I'm not that picky. Alright, so here we are at the end of Stage 2 versus the awesome Yin and Yang boss. So this one is an interesting boss fight in that you have to go and be the right polarity to go and move down the shields going and blocking the weak points. So it's actually an easier fight if you're going and co-oping it. Because then you can have somebody go and maintain the shield doors open while the other player goes and gets in there and deals massive damage to the boss itself. As a single player, this fight can actually go and be quite tedious, but bad choice of polarity there. But it's really satisfying if you have the ability to take it out yourself. There's half of the boss, and alright, that is the end of Stage 2. Chapter 2, however you want to go refer to it. There's just something so unique about the experience of going and playing Ikaruga as far as shooters are concerned. So one thing that was definitely true about most shoot-em-ups is that you're trained to avoid going and taking damage from the enemy. You're trying to avoid shots. But when you're going and playing a title like Ikaruga that's going and dealing with polarities that you can even absorb, and there's benefits from going and absorbing enemy shots, you go and have to kind of throw so much of what you know as a fan of shoot-em-ups out the window. So it's kind of goes and takes a little bit of retraining, as it were. And that's something that goes and adds to the beauty of the title itself. It's like you're going and engaging in this beautiful, deadly dance with all the... That was bad timing on my part. This beautiful dance with all the enemies. And that's definitely what goes and makes this one that I feel is an essential title for any fan of shoot 'em up to go and play. And given how readily available this title is compared to others in this day and age, really there's no reason that you shouldn't go and be playing this one. With it available for Steam as well as the Xbox 360, there's plenty of opportunity to be able to go and pick this one up. So there you go and have it. That'll go and just about wrap up this episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday as we go and enter in the main bulk of Chapter 3. I want to thank you so much for going and coming out and joining me today. And so much for going and supporting me over this previous year. It's been a lot of fun. I've had so much enjoyment going and putting together these episodes, going and finding and exploring new shoot 'em ups to be able to go and share with everybody. It's been a really, really great time, and I hope that you'll go and continue to go and support me for yet another year and beyond that as well. So once again, if there are any shoot 'em ups that you'd like to go and recommend, by all means, please go and leave those in the comments below. I would love to go and hear from you. I definitely go and want to say one more time, thank you so much for coming out and joining me for today's Shoot 'em Up Saturday and any other Shoot 'em Up Saturdays that you've gone and joined me for. And I hope to go and see you again next week.